Good day everyone, I am Mark Alden Ligamose, and at this point of this video, I am going to continue the discussion about the grounded theory designs. Now in this video, I am going to discuss three subtopics of the chapter 13. The first one is the potential ethical issues in grounded theory. The second one is the steps on how to conduct grounded theory research. And for the third part, or the last one, is on how we evaluate grounded theory research. Now, we need to proceed to the first subtopic entitled Potential Ethical Issues in Grounded Theory. In the study of Olsen in the year 2007, he mentions the possible potential ethical issues in the conduct of research, and here they are. It was the privacy, the consent, confidentiality, deceit, deception, and harm. Ethical issues face grounded theorists when they declare the purpose of the study, knowing that it will emerge through a grounding in participant views. The central role of interviewing in grounded theory raises questions about power and authority in giving appropriate voice to participants about the process of research. The use of logically building grounded theory from concept or categories to a theoretical model needs to be documented so that others can recreate similar processes. Now, in this slide, this illustration discusses an ethical issue that arose in the grounded theory research or study by Creswell and Brown in the year 1992. With the different types of grounded theory procedures like systematic, emerging, and constructivist, researchers might engage in alternative procedures to conduct a grounded theory study. Now, we're moving on to the next step, which is the steps in conducting grounded theory research. Now, we have here 8 of the steps on how to conduct a grounded theory research. And now, the first step is to decide if a grounded theory design best addresses the research problem. A grounded theory design is appropriate when you want to develop a theory, a process, or a general abstraction of the interaction and action of the people. As such, it offers a macro picture of educational situations rather than a detailed micro analysis. Because of the generation of an abstract process, it seems suitable for sensitive topics such as the coping process of women who have been sexually abused according to the study of Morrow and Smith in 1995, or any research problem situation in which individuals need their privacy protected. Moving on to the next step is to identify a process to study. No, you need to clarify or you need to identify early a tentative process to examine in your grounded theory research. And this process may change and emerge during your project, but you need to have an idea of the process at this step. This process should naturally follow the research problem and questions that you need to ask to answer. Now, it needs to involve people who are acting or interacting with identifiable steps or sequence in their interactions. Now, moving on to the third step is to seek approval and access. As with all research studies, you need to obtain approval from the Institutional Review Board. You also need access to individuals who can provide insight into the process that you plan to study. And like other studies, this step involves seeking approval to collect data, appraising individuals of the purpose of your study, and guaranteeing protection of the site and participants as you conduct the inquiry. Now, the fourth step is to conduct theoretical sampling. The key concept in the grounded theory data collection is to gather information that can assist in your development of a theory. Like for example, individuals who have experienced the process you are studying. Now, grounded theories use many forms of data, but many researchers rely on interviews to best capture the experiences of individuals in their own words. Now, again, one rule of thumb in the student research and interviewing is to collect 20 to 30 interviews during data collection according to Creswell. And this general guideline, of course, may change if you collect multiple sources of data such as informations, observations, documents, and your personal memos. And the fifth step from this is you need to code the data. The process of coding data occurs during data collection so that you can determine what data to collect next. It typically begins with the identification of open coding categories and using the constant comparative approach for saturation by comparing data with incident and incident with category. Now, from open coding, you proceed to eggshell coding and the development of a coding paradigm. Now, this involves the process identified in figure 13.3, which is in this PowerPoint. Figure 13.13 of selecting a core category from the open coding possibilities and positioning it at the center of the eggshell coding process as a core category. Now from here, you will likely return to data collection or reanalyze your data to identify causal conditions, intervening in contextual categories or strategies and consequences to develop the eggshell coding processes. And now for the sixth step is you need to use selective coding and develop the theory. The final process of coding is selective coding, and it involves actually developing your theory. This procedure includes interrelating the categories in the coding paradigm. This stage may also involve writing a story or a narrative that describes the interrelationships among categories. And from the seventh step is you need to validate your theory. Now, it is important to determine if your theoretical explanation makes sense to participants and is an accurate rendering of events and their sequence in the process. In grounded theory research, validation is an active part of the process of research, according to Creswell in 2007. The researcher poses questions that relate the categories and then returns to the data and looks for the evidence, incidents, and events, a process in grounded theory that is called discriminant sampling. So after developing a theory, the grounded theorist validates the process by comparing it with the existing processes found in literature. And for the last, or the eighth step, is you need to write a grounded theory research report. So compared with other qualitative designs such as ethnography and narrative research, the structures of grounded theory studies are scientific and include problems, methods, discussions, and results. In addition, the point of view of the writer in a systematic approach is sometimes the third person and objective in tone. All grounded theory projects, however, end with a theory generated by the researcher reporting his or her abstraction of the process under examination. And finally, for our last subtopic, I am going to discuss how we evaluate grounded theory research. Now, I have here 3 theorists who have their insights and studies on how to evaluate grounded theory research. The first here is Glaser. The second theories were Strauss and Corbin in 1990 and in 1998. And the last theorist is Chalmers in the year 2006 and 2014. No. In his further development of grounded theory, Glaser in 1978 and 1998 suggested 4 criteria in judging the quality of the research. The first one is the workability. Does the theory work to explain relevant behavior in the substantive area of the study? Now, for the next one is the relevance. It questions, does it have relevance to the people in the substantive field or not? And the third one is the fit. It questions, does the theory fit the substantive area, or the theory and its category must fit the data? So in this theory, it needs to be fit in the data. And for the fourth one is the modifiability. So it has the question of, is the theory readily modifiable as a new data emerge? So, in the development of grounded theory, Strauss and Corbin in 1990 and 1998 emphasized 4 general criteria. The first one is the quality of the data. In other words, grounded theories need to carefully address and adopt quality criteria related to the methods used for gathering data to secure credibility and trustworthiness of the data. Now, the second one is the plausibility and value of the theory itself. Now, the third one, adequacy of the research process. So it has sampling procedures, theoretical writing, coding, categorization, and development of hypotheses or conceptual relations between categories and selection of the core category through which the theory is developed. And the last is the issue of the empirical grounding of the theory. Now, within a constructivist grounded theory, Chalmers in 2006 and 2014 proposes 4 main criteria for grounded theory studies. First one is the credibility, originality, resonance, and the usefulness. So the first one we're going to talk about is the credibility. Credibility begins with having sufficient relevant data for asking incisive questions about the data, making systematic comparisons throughout the research process, and developing a thorough analysis. The more controversial the topic or analysis, the more data the researcher needs to persuade skeptical audiences. Now, for the next one is the originality. Originality can take varied forms such as offering new insights, providing a fresh conceptualization of a recognized problem, and establishing the significance of the analysis. The next one is the resonance. Resonance demonstrates that the researchers have constructed concepts that not only represent the research participants' experiences, but also provide the insight to the others. And for the last one is the usefulness. Usefulness includes clarifying research participants' understanding of their everyday lives, forming a foundation for the policy and practice applications, contributing to creating new lines of research, as well as revealing persuasive processes and practices. And that's all for my video presentation. I hope you learned something about our topic, Chapter 13, the Grounded Theory Designs. Thank you for watching.